It's the appointed time and we have a quorum. Is the panel on Manpower. I call the meeting to order. This is the election of chairman for 2015-16 session. And of course, after that, there will be the election of the deputy chairman. Please refer to ROP of 77 bracket 6. But if you are the chairman or deputy chairman of any advisory bodies of this, under the scope of this panel, you cannot be a chairman or deputy chairman. And under 77 bracket 7, members cannot be the chairman of more than one chairman or deputy chairman of more than one panel. Under the House Rules, Appendix IV, we will conduct the election of chairman. Nominations, please. A valid nomination will have to be made orally by a member and seconded by at least one member orally. The nomination will have to be accepted by the member. Nominations, please. Mr. Tenkapiu. I nominate Mr. Kok Wai Kung. Any seconders? Seconded by Mr. Kok Him. Mr. Kok, do you accept? I do. Any other nominations? Mr. Sin Chung Kai. I nominate Mr. Lee Chek Yan. Seconders? Seconded by Dr. Kwokaki. Mr. Lee, do you accept? I do. Any other nominations? Let's start the election. It will be by secret ballot. The staff will distribute ballot papers and a chop to each member. Under the House rule, candidates will be given a number in the order of nomination. Please affix the chop against the candidate of your preference. Number 1 is Mr. Kok Wai Kung and candidate number 2 is Mr. Lee Chek Yan.
稍後呢，當議員喺
After members have affixed a chop, voting will be closed. No more ballot papers will be distributed, and the ballot papers will be collected. So now please vote. Any members who have not received a ballot paper or a chop?
咁我哋根據工作人員匯報呢係
As reported, 15 ballot papers have been distributed.
咁如果大家吸咗章之後呢，我就請工作人員而家
After you've fixed the chop, I'll ask the staff to collect the ballot papers. Please put the ballot papers into the box by yourself.
咁而家我宣布呢，投票程序呢係結束啦。
Voting is closed. No more ballot papers will be distributed. Let's count the ballot papers collected. 15.
咁我哋而家咧就請鄧家彪議員。
I ask Mr. Shin Chung Kai and Mr. Tenkapiu to supervise the counting of votes.
我哋收咗15張嘅嚇。
好，咁啊收翻嘅選票係啱數嘅，都係15張啊。
We've received 15 ballot papers. Number 1. Number 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 1. Result unknown. Candidate number 1, Mr. Kwok Wai Keung, has received 10 votes. Mr. Lee Cheuk-yen, candidate number 2, has received 5 votes. Mr. Kwok Wai Keung is elected chairman of the panel on manpower. Congratulations. Please come out to conduct the election of the deputy chairman. Thank you. Now, Deputy Chairman election for 2015-16. Valid nomination will have to be made orally by one member and seconded by at least one other member orally, and this nomination will have to be accepted. Nominations, please. Mr. Chen Kim-po. I nominate Ms. Ann Chang. Seconded by Mr. Wong Kok Kin. Ms. Chang, do you accept? I do, gladly. Any other nominations? Dr. Kokaki. I nominate Mr. Lee Cheuk-yen. Any seconders? Seconded by Mr. Peter Cheung. Do you accept, Mr. Lee? Yes. Any other nominations? If not, that will be it for the nominations. The voting will be by secret ballot. I ask the staff to distribute to each member one ballot paper and one chalk. According to the House rules, candidates will be given a number. Please affix the chalk against the candidate of your preference. Candidate number 1 is Ms. Ann Chang. Candidate number 2 is Mr. Lee Cheuk-yen. It's by secret ballot, so please do not show your ballot papers to other people. Once you've affixed the chalk, close the ballot paper without folding it in half. After members have affixed the chalk, I will announce that the voting is closed. No more ballot papers will be distributed. As reported, 16 ballot papers have been distributed. All members have affixed the job. If that is the case, voting is closed. No more ballot papers will be given out. Please collect the ballot papers. Members, please put the ballot papers into the box yourself, and do not leave your seat before you have done so.
sorry，第二轉嚟嘅 ，OK。使唔使講收咗幾多張？好，唔該。係啦，咁我哋秘書處嘅同。
16 ballot papers have been collected, which is the same as the number distributed. Members who have made the nominations, Dr. Kokaki and Mr. Chen Kim-po, please come to supervise the counting of votes. All ballot papers will be destroyed under the supervision of the clerk. Two. One. Two. 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 One.
Number one. Number one. Number one. Number one. Number one. Number one. Number one. Number one. Number two. Thank you. I declare the voting results. Number one, An Zhang has got 10 votes. Number two, Li Chak-yan has got 6 votes. So I now declare Ms. An Zhang elected as the Vice Chairman of the panel on Manpower. Congratulations. Next, item 2, schedule of meetings for the 2015-16 session. We will hold our meetings at the same time as the last session, i.e. on the third Tuesday of every month, 4:30 p.m. The regular meetings will be held at that time. And members, please consider whether we should stick to this timetable, and the list of the meeting dates have been tabled. Any objection? If not, then it will be the third Tuesday of every month, 4:30 p.m.
OK， 好，唔該晒，唔該晒秘書。咁咧，我哋
Thank you, the clerk. The next meeting will be held at 4:30 p.m. on the 17th of November. Two proposed items to be discussed. One is Hong Kong's occupational safety performance in the first half of 2015. The second item, progress of the work of the Standard Working Hours Committee, rather. Ms. Chen Yunhan. Thank you, Chairman. Recently, standard working hours has been a concern to the community. The government has conducted surveys, and there have been discussions on these studies. In the last legislative session, I've written in to say that for our regular meeting, we should have a standing item on the standard working hours. Up to this very moment, I think that the subject is still contentious, and I think we should submit our views to the committee. So I hope the chairman will make such an arrangement. See what other members think. According to the clerk's information, based on the discussions of the House Committee's meeting last week, it is expected that the subcommittee on standard working hours will start work in January 2016. Well, we've got a time slot already. Well, then that's good. That's okay. Then if a subcommittee is to be established under the House Committee, then that's okay. Mr. Lee Chuk-yan. Of course, standard working hours are something very important. This is a major labor right, and we've been lagging 100 years behind others. So it's good that we have this item for the next meeting on the standard working hours. I think we can invite some groups to come to give their views. I know the committee is doing some consultation, but they are doing it behind closed doors. Shall we hold some sort of a public hearing or what to give the deputations or groups, the concerned groups, a chance to give their views? I hope that the Standard Working Hours Committee can give a clear stance as to when legislation can begin. Also, we've been talking about the offsetting arrangement of MPF versus severance payment. Will it be possible that we hold a special meeting together with the FA panel to discuss this item? Well, we can do it on our own. If that is the case, we would also be inviting members from the FA panel to join us in our discussion. I think this is something very urgent, and we should do it ASAP. If we don't start legislation now, then it's really impossible for us to complete our work very soon. So I think we should discuss and include an item of the offsetting arrangement of MPF versus severance payment in our outstanding items. Apart from standard working hours, the subject of offsetting of MPF against severance payment is also raised. Also, in the House Committee meeting last week, a joint subcommittee on the subject will also start work in January 2016. This is something already in the agenda or on the table. Dr. Zhang, Qualifications Framework. It's been implemented for 7 years, starting 2008. We hope to discuss the situation of QF again. I would like very much to find out in the past couple of years how its progress of work, what achievements have been made, and also future work plans, especially in 2016, what work will be done in that respect, what targets to be achieved. I hope that can be discussed in the first quarter, Chairman. Thank you, Dr. Zhang. On the subject of qualifications framework, QF, every year in the policy address, an update is given. For this issue, this is something on our queue already. So we would explore the timing for discussing that later on. Can we do it in the first quarter? You said that it's something included in the policy address. The policy address will be out in January next year. Can we do it sooner, say? In November, we can have a discussion. We may have recommendations for the CE to put into his policy address. Is that a good arrangement? Well, if we wait till January when the CE has made the policy address, and then then it will be February, March, and then it may mean 6 months later. But this is a subject very close to our heart, because people are talking about young people moving up the social ladder, and more and more young people are getting into a poor condition. So QF is to help people to have some sort of qualifications and accreditation, and once they've got that kind of qualification, they may get a pay rise. So what has been the progress and the achievement? I think we have been implementing the QF for 7 years, and I think it's a serious matter, and we should not procrastinate anymore. We are at the end of this term of LegCo. Well, thank you for your comment. I agree with you. So in our discussion with the administration on the agendas to items to be discussed, we will include your comment. Any other member wishing to make a suggestion? Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, Chairman. Let's draw lots. Leung Chun-ying has not been delivering his promises. Many promises have not been honored. The FTU has taken him to task so many times, and not to mention our proposals as well. QF is important. Well, the QF is not for the young people. They are really for the senior people. The young people don't need the QF. It's only people who have been working for a long time and they lack education and qualifications, and they need the QF to help them. So don't believe in her. Young people don't need QF. Well, why don't we draw lots to determine the priority? Because everything is considered important. C.Y. Leung is really outrageous, and he's making promises all the time. He's borrowing loans, and he isn't even willing to pay any interest. I've never seen a debtor as bad as he. The FTU has been striving for the implementation of standard working hours, and he's not delivering his promise at all. So I think the fairest way to do is to draw lots. We have no choice but to draw lots, I think. Thank you, Mr. Leung. Let me remind you once again that for the items to be discussed in November, they have been fixed, the occupational safety performance and standard working hours progress and so on. And as to the agenda items to be discussed in December and afterwards, and we would discuss with the administration and incorporate your views as well. Thank you for your comments. Last item, AOB. If not, then meeting adjourned. Thank you.